Y'all know what time it is? This is Bulldozed with the Bigs. It's your boy Josh M. Hicks with my right hand partner, Drew Stevens. We've been in the building all season long, and you already heard last episode of our frustrations with the Bulls, front office, and the team as a whole. But clearly, I think Darnell Mayberry had time today to drop another bomb and just hype up those things that we talked about in the last episode because according to Darnell Mayberry of The Athletic, um, Billy Donovan's not the only one getting secret extensions around here. It's Artūras Karnišovas as well. And I must admit, Drew, it doesn't surprise me, but it is sitting here like, I still wonder why all the secrecy. Like, it's like, what's the point? It's not like we're calling them to be fired. It's not like it's, something that's so quiet or hush hush that it just gives bad vibes. It gives Garpax vibes. And quite frankly, we acting like there's a side piece that we're cheating on, and there's really no side piece. Like, explain this to me, Drew. Like, what went through your mind when you heard of this news that the Bulls decided to continue to keep the secrets from the public and let the world know through other sources that, quite frankly, whoever said this information to Darnell, which we do trust, it's legit that the Bulls want to maintain this secrecy, this secret, movement, and for what purpose?
Yeah, given that we're, a handful of months away from learning about Billy Donovan being secretly extended, I wasn't surprised by the alleged secret extending of AK. I was surprised just in the fact that they extended him already. Obviously, we don't know what the terms of his original deal was. I don't think they were ever disclosed. I'm not sure if those types of things are ever disclosed in general around the league, but considering that the Bulls are 117 and 119 since he took over and only have a 5-game series loss to the Bucks and a 1-1 record in the play-in tournament to show for all the moves they made, willing and dealing for Nikola Vucevic and giving up Wendell Carter Jr. and 3 first-round picks and 4 second-round picks in the grand scheme of things and of what they gave up to assemble the team they have now. It just seems a little hasty, if I could use that word. You would think that they want to see how he could get himself and the Bulls out of the corner that they're in right now, considering the limited resources they have to improve the team right now. Draft pick wise, asset wise, because they're not looking to rebuild by all intents and purposes. So, it was very surprising in that regard. Like, why are you extending him now when he's got the franchise's back up against the wall?
I found that interesting as well. And the only thing that I got from that was they maybe knew from the beginning that they were going to re-sign everybody. They already knew from the beginning, once the Bulls made the playoffs and was seen at one point in time as one of the top teams in the league, they said, oh yeah, this is it. Let's sign them now. They can take the money right now. And I think that's why it was so secretive, because the way this past season went down was so bad that they already caught some flack in the beginning of the season when Billy Donovan's secret extension came out. So when that came out, they probably said, hey, we don't want to catch no more flack for these extensions. We know you're coming back, but just give us some time. Let's act like the Bulls fan base completely forgot about the fact that we gave Billy the secret extension, and we'll just announce later on whenever we want to that you got your extension. And I don't like that. If you want to be completely honest up front with us, saying that you wanted to bring us back because they did the first thing that since Jimmy Butler era that the Bulls done when they came to making the playoffs, great. That's perfectly fine. Matter of fact, we were so desperate at the time, we probably would understand. We'd be like, yeah, let's make it happen. Come on. Let's keep them here. But this year went down so bad. Like the dramatic dip was so steep that you coming out now, even though you still wanted to be a secret, because let's be honest, the Bulls didn't announce this. This was from Darnell's reporting. So since the Bulls didn't come up with an official statement for Billy Donovan, now nor Artūras Karnišovas saying that they're here for the long term and they've been extended, I'm just sitting here like, bro, I'm confused. I am very confused, especially like you said, this past season should not really indicate that there's a guarantee that Artūras Karnišovas should be here that much longer or however long the extension is, because he's only been here 2 years, and like you said, it's equated to subpar or below 500 basketball with only one appearance to the playoffs and one round. It's not like you exceeded those expectations that went to the second round. You went to the play-in. You weren't even supposed to be in the play-in if you didn't make any moves with getting Patrick Beverley. You weren't even going to make the play-in. So this doesn't make sense. Like you said, it doesn't make sense to me right now why you would do it. But the fact that you were so secretive of it, knowing that the season was going so bad, that's like you getting caught doing something wrong and you lying about you got caught. It's clearly evident you got caught. We saw you, bro. Like, you did the thing you're not supposed to do. But then you're going to lie about it and say, that ain't me. Like, that makes it that much worse. And I don't understand the justification behind going that route when it comes to this front office. It doesn't give me good vibes at all.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny that this comes out, you know, a few days after Jerry Reinsdorf's comments at the Milken Institute Global Conference in LA. I think it was Monday, where among other things he talked about, you know, how finishing second, third, or fourth doesn't necessarily make a season a failure, and it just really, in my mind, it made me question like what the expectations are or what expectations were set when Acme was hired, when Billy Donovan was hired. Now I understand that. I think in terms of the Bulls, their front offices, the history of their front offices is that their tenures have gone on for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the years in front of me. And I also understand that, you know, they had to deal with injuries, namely Lonzo Ball's injury that has really thrown a wrench in their plans. But, you know, typically you reward somebody with an extension for a job well done. And considering how AK talked about how he's not going to settle for mediocrity, and, you know, his number one goal is a championship. And yet here we are, you know, a gentleman's sweep in last season's first round playoffs, like you talked about just now, having a scratch and claw just to hold down the 10th seed and sneak into the play-in tournament. You win a game that a lot of people thought you would lose to the Toronto Raptors, and then you go ice cold in the last 3 minutes and change of the game you needed to actually get into the playoffs against the Heat, a team that you swept the season series from. You know, we all can talk about how important or how vital regular season is or how insignificant it is, but, you know, it just points back to the questions that a lot of Bulls fans have about this organization, the direction that they're going in, and if they really can ever reach the level they were at in the 90s without either drafting or acquiring a generational talent like Michael Jordan or Derrick Rose, or the Reinsdorfs moving on as owners and passing that responsibility to somebody else.
Well, you would think that would happen, but clearly that's not. So the reality we have to face is, can the Bulls rebuild or retool off of a quality talent, like you said, that is not draftable, that we have not drafted over our historical time? That still remains to be seen. However, we talk about expectations. they must have forgot what the expectations were when Jordan was here. Because if we remember watching The Last Dance, they was already ready trying to scrap any type of finishing of a three-peat at that time. They were Jerry Krause was ready to move on, and Phil, and eventually Jerry had to step in and say, "No, you deserve more time because you keep winning." But it's not like the Bulls are winning and you're saying, "Oh, we can give them more time." You're losing. You're not winning any games. And the way and Reinsdorf's quotes at that convention or that conference shows that he doesn't really understand what his fans expect. He doesn't know his fan base because you're practicing mediocrity in conjunction with insanity, and you're expecting different results from the moves that you make that are exactly the same for all these years, and then you expect your fan base to be okay with this. Like, we did not just win in the 90s a decade of winning. Like, we did not just have 6 championships, which right now is the third most in the league history. Like, we're technically a top 3 winning franchise. And you're telling me that fans don't care about that? That's a problem. And having that come from your ownership, that should tell you that you don't expect the Bulls to win anything. That's just, you just pretty much said we don't care about that right now. You just pulled a Giannis on me and told me that at the end of the day, if it's second, third, or fourth, not a failed season. Bro, did you forget the money you living off of? Because the United Center ain't having your banners up there. Michael Jordan, that era of basketball is represented. You got his statue in your arena. You got Pippen on one wing. You like, come on now. These are the people that won your championships.
You know what's kind of ironic when you spoke about like the standard that was set in the 90s and what was acceptable, what was not. I think obviously Michael Jordan had a lot to do with that, with his play on the court, but then also just what he expected of ownership. And ironically, I think the last or maybe only player we've seen since then is Jimmy Butler, who's been a big topic of conversation with the way he's, come on in these playoffs. And that conversation always comes up, it seems like, during these playoffs when he takes his game to another level, and we got to rehash the whole Jimmy Butler trade. But, some of the things that have come out from that are about how Jimmy wanted to stay here and he was looking to recruit certain guys like the Kyrie Irvings of the world. And I think that it's ironic that he's no longer here, that the Bulls traded him away when he may have been the last player this franchise had since Michael Jordan, who may have called ownership or the organization on its shit in order to push things forward. I don't think that the Bulls have had another guy like that. And that's, not every player is going to want to take on their responsibility. So I'm not trying to say that, the Zach LaVines or DeMar DeRozans or Derrick Roses of the world are any less than, but, it's just funny to me how that transpired and how things are looking right now.
It's giving a lot of yes man vibes, and I do not like that. You're not going to win moving forward if you're always going to say yes to everything. And I think one other thing when you talk about this report that came out, when you actually read it, Darnell talks about how the Wizards just fired Tommy Shepard this past month. They fired Tommy Shepard. What was his tenure in Washington? 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And within those 4 years, the Wizards made the playoffs, I think, once with Russell Westbrook. And outside of that, the Wizards were below average. And Tommy Shepard, from what I heard from people that have been close and covered that team and have been around them in the area, is a great GM, knows what he's doing. but he's just in DC. Ain't nobody gonna come to DC like that, you know? So, and from what I heard, Bradley Beal loves Tommy Sheppard. That's one of the main reasons why he stayed and signed his extensions was because of him. But the thought of the fact that is he was well represented around the league, and he was given 4 years to do what he had to do to turn the franchise around. Couldn't turn it around in the way that they needed. He's been let go. The Bulls franchise, yes, year one, it's been turned around. But we've been fooled. We've been bamboozled. Because year two, we declined. And you're telling me after that, oh, head coach can stay. Oh, Artūras, yeah, you did a pretty good job. You can stay. But there's no clear direction where this team is going. You only had one good year out of the 2 years you had so far. And even that 1 year, you can question what's actually pretty good, considering that after All-Star break, when Lonzo Ball went down, you derailed, you nosedived, and you barely survived. And now you're coming up on year three. You have no ideal plan of what you're going to do. There's still inconsistencies behind your rhetoric as far as what the team was looking for and how you plan to change it. And there's no trust behind whatever you displayed from that press conference. No one believes your plan. So all of that has been put up Front Street. And if you compare it to the Wizards had one good year. That was with Russell Westbrook. That was the only good year they had because they made the playoffs. But yeah, he was let go. And you telling me that this man, Artūras Karnišovas, who had, like you mentioned, has a below 500 record, automatically gets a contract extension that no one knows about? That doesn't sound right to me. It just does not sound right to me. And it's worthy of questioning because, yes, he flipped the franchise around, but it's not like the franchise maintained. It got worse. Yeah, some of it is out of his control with the injuries and such. But you also had 3 opportunities between the offseason leading up to now to make major moves to your roster that you knew this team needs. And you bypassed that for continuity. Well, now you can't continue this because you've been put on Front Street. So now as we look at this situation, we can't look at it as in same old BS. Bulls is bullying, continuing to Bulls do. But now we really got to put them in a hot seat. We got to put the fire torch to them a little bit and say, hey, are you actually going to do what you say you're going to do? You're going to do what you're going to do to make this franchise better. And clearly that remains to be seen. But it becomes that much more of a topic now because if year 3 goes bad, this extension for both coaches, both the head coach and Artūras, it's not going to go over good. It's already not going over good now, but it's really not going to go over good if year 3 is that bad.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think, if anyone who's watching this, who's listening to us, engages in social media conversations about the Bulls, you hear the displeasure daily, sometimes hourly. So Billy Donovan and Acme, all their feet have been held to the fire in the social media sphere, but apparently none of that really matters to ownership. Clearly, whatever expectations were set, they are apparently meeting them well enough, competently enough for them to warrant giving these guys extensions. And I'm less bothered by the one given to Billy Donovan than I am learning today about what is alleged to have been given to Acme. Because Billy Donovan only has so much control. He does. I know that him and Acme have a partnership, and I believe they run things by each other. But he can only control so much. He's not necessarily in the grocery store buying the groceries that he's going to cook with. So the man that is in charge of that's the one who I'm kind of looking at more so in a side-eye fashion, or maybe the man above him being the Reinsdorfs. It's just this season, this off season already, it's just a soap opera, man. It's just a soap opera. So many twists and turns, ups and downs. I give him that. It's been entertaining for almost all the wrong reasons.
Man, you talk about, Billy Dimes is not doing the grocery shopping. Artūras and the upper management and ownership is doing that. Real question is not just who's buying the groceries, but what card they're using. Let you guys think about that for the listeners that are listening to this podcast. That being said,
I got one better for you.
Really?
Why are the Bulls shopping at Jewel on a Whole Foods budget?
Couldn't even use Mariano's right up the street. That being said, everybody, thank you for listening to another edition of BULLdozed. We'll be coming back, obviously, with more episodes throughout the offseason, and especially when it comes to the NBA season upcoming. But you already know, shout out to Terrence and Eugene, founders and co-founders of the Bigs, but for helping put this together. But at the end of the day, as much as you'll be hearing from them, you'll be hearing from us too. My guy Drew, your boy Josh, we in the building signing out. It's us.